Sri Lanka got universal voting rights in 1931 before most of the world. That's the proud story they tell you. But here is what they don't tell you. Voting and winning are two completely different things, and the gap between them has been deliberately engineered. On the surface, high voter turnout, peaceful transfers of power, regular elections looks like a healthy democracy, right? But underneath, money politics with no real oversight. Elections postponed for years using economic crisis as an excuse. Party insiders, not voters, secretly deciding who even gets to be a candidate. Women used as campaign workers but blocked from nominations. Youth driving revolutions in the street, then locked out of every ballot. The voting booth is real, everything leading up to it is controlled. Then there is the voting system itself, and this is where it gets truly insane. Sri Lanka's system forces candidates from the same party to fight each other for preference votes. So instead of competing against rivals, politicians spend millions attacking their own teammates. Campaigns abandon policy, they become hyper expensive personality contests. And to survive those costs, candidates turn to money politics, caste networks, family connections, and local favors. The voting system literally manufactures corruption. And the money, nobody talks about the money. There is the visible campaign spending, the posters, the rallies, the media ads regulated on paper. And then there is the shadow economy underneath. Informal cash networks, food distribution, social media bot armies, third-party proxies funneling millions with zero accountability. This money does three things. It blocks middle class and working class candidates from ever entering politics. It forces elected politicians into post-election corruption just to repay their campaign debts. And it hands the real power over public policy to business elites and contractors, not voters. And when governments feel threatened, they simply freeze democracy. 339 out of 341 local government authorities had their elections postponed indefinitely, using the economic crisis as a blanket excuse. Provincial council elections, the very mechanism that's supposed to give minorities a voice, suspended. The 13th Amendment quietly undermined. Power silently centralized back to Colombo. A democratic mandate has an expiry date. Economic crisis cannot become a flexible excuse to suspend popular sovereignty. Then came 2024 and something historic happened. Voters peacefully punished the traditional elite. The NPP won 159 out of 225 seats. For the first time since independence, family-based dynastic politics was genuinely rejected at the ballot box. But here is the warning that nobody is saying out loud. A two-third parliamentary majority is also a weapon. Every government that has ever held that kind of power in Sri Lanka has used it to weaken checks and balances. The mandate was earned, but a mandate is not a blank check. And now the front lines have shifted online. Fake surveys, bot networks, targeted digital harassment of women and minority candidates, state vehicles and welfare programs weaponized for campaigns. Elections are now won and lost in the digital shadow. But Sri Lanka's election monitoring still only audits physical ballot boxes, while the real manipulation happens on your phone screen. So, what must actually change? 4 changes. Non-negotiable, constitutionally guaranteed election timelines. So, no government can freeze democracy again. Real-time digital spending audits, no paper laws that anybody enforces. legally mandated quotas for women and youth in party nominations, and electoral system reform to end the intra-party warfare that turns every election into a corruption machine. Sri Lanka's democracy will never be complete until every citizen, not just the wealthy, the well-connected, the well-born, has a fair chance to influence power. The ballot box is just the beginning. It's everything before and after it that's need to change. Thank you.